The South of Scotland Kirkpatrick, Coast to Coast. Part 1. Days 1 and 2. With a supposedly good weather outlook, we decided to undertake a late-season cycle along the new Kirkpatrick Scottish C2C cycle route. A tour following 250 miles, 402 kilometres, across the south of Scotland, from Stranraer in the west to Eyemouth on the east coast. Riding our Bambook, e-tandem trike, and basing our campervan at a succession of campsites, our plan was to ride the whole route, in stages, in both directions. In the event, the long-range weather forecast proved to be over-optimistic, and we had no early mention of the devastation that was about to hit Scotland a few days into our tour. Day 1. PortPatrick to Culshabbin, and return. PortPatrick. Stranraer. A75. Lunraget. Stairhaver. The Cock Inn. Culshabbin. The Cock Inn. Stairhaver. A75. B7077. A77. PortPatrick. Although in remote countryside, we chose Culshabbin as the terminus of the day's ride for two reasons. To keep the day's mileage relatively leisurely. The location was near the summit of the long climb up from the coast. The route through Stranraer is a bit underwhelming, but there is a handy Morrison's supermarket, and cyclists are advised to stock up, as there is a dearth of available options further on. There are cycle paths of variable quality alongside the A47, but we soon found some sections strewn with debris and brambles. Making slow progress, and with a high risk of punctures, we soon opted to stay on the main carriageway. At Culshabbin, there is nothing other than a couple of dwellings. After the long climb up, we bolted down our Morrison's butties, turned round, and opted for a more direct route back to PortPatrick, bypassing Stranraer. Day 2. Creetown to Culshabbin and return. Creetown. Warning. Access up to the off-road cycle path, just outside Creetown, is extremely steep and exceptionally slippery, particularly when wet. If you have a heavy cycle like ours, the area is unsafe and best avoided. The only alternative is a 4-mile section of the easy-going but moderately busy A75. Newton Stewart. Widgetown. Culshabbin. Widgetown. Newton Stewart. A75. Creetown. A relatively easy-going day, 49 miles, 79 kilometers. 2,400 feet, 730 meters. Of climbing. After leaving Creetown, it was our intention to follow the trail along the disused railway towards Newton Stewart. Although the access gate adjacent the restrictive barrier was unlocked, the steep wet lichen and moss-covered surface provided insufficient traction for our heavy tandem. Our only option was to dismount and push up to where the gradient was safer. Further on, the treacherous surface became so steep that the tandem became hopelessly stuck and about to slide uncontrollably backwards. With the surface too unsafe to stand and push, we had no option but to creep backwards in reverse. Once on a safer gradient, the only alternative was to drag the heavy machine round and exit down to the road in an uncontrolled headlong rush. At the end of the road, it was a 4-mile, fast, easygoing cycle along the moderately busy A47. Arriving at Culshabbin, the terminus of the previous day's ride, it was a quick about turn to follow our outward route back to base. Once back at Creetown, with Storm Babet imminent, we reluctantly decided to abandon the tour. This proved to be a wise decision, as parts of Scotland subsequently suffered devastating floods, and sadly 3 fatalities. We now plan to complete the journey next spring, commencing from where we terminated at Creetown.